NBA player props here on PrizePicks for Monday, January 29th. We have a massive 12-game slate here. Before we get started, you guys take a look in the description below. Hop into our premium Discord, $9.30 per month, 31 cents per day, where I post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks. We also have other premium cappers in there as well. They post all their plays, research, and analysis. Overall, super positive community in there. Everyone is trying to help each other cash. Also want to mention I'm not a gambling expert, and this is not financial advice. Simply just the plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully give you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. Again, no one's pressing submit on those parlays other than yourselves. But let's get right into it, you guys. Again, like I said, massive 12-game slate here. Pretty crazy that we have this 12-game slate. I know probably because we had big football games yesterday. But nonetheless, with football winding down, Super Bowl is the only game left. Going to be posting daily NBA player prop videos on this channel. So again, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet already. Daily content back in full effect on this channel as well. But let's get right into it, you guys. Two player props. Let's get into it. So the first play is going to be Trey Jones, point guard, San Antonio Spurs, over 11.5 rebounds plus assists. He's facing his brother, Washington Wizards. And just taking a look really quickly at this game environment, this game has the highest over-under on the day. Two of the bottom feeder teams in the league, and neither one of these teams play very much defense at all. 241.5 over-under, the highest over-under on the slate. San Antonio is going to be 4-point favorites in this one. I can't see a scenario where either team blows either one of these teams out, in my opinion. So hopefully that presents just a solid opportunity overall for this game to remain close in general. But Trey Jones, we look at his last 10 games. He's over in 5 of his last 10. Take away his last 2 games, he's over in 7 of his last 9 games. Or actually, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of his last 8. Sorry, over in 5 of his last 8 games. Specifically, and you can look here again. This is over on Outlier, guys. There's a link in the description. You get a 7-day free trial with Outlier. This is a research betting tool that I do use every single day. Highly recommend. 26 ranked, 4th most rebounds to the point guard position, and the 2nd most assists to the point guard position is what the Washington Wizards allow. And you can see here he just faced Washington and had 20 rebounds plus assists in that matchup. 20 rebounds plus assists in this game was on the road. All of his numbers kind of go up a little bit at home. Obviously, teams shoot better at home compared to on the road. But 20 RA in that matchup just, what is that, a few weeks ago, like literally 9 days ago. 12 assists and 8 rebounds. Now, like I talked about, this game environment with the highest over-under on the slate with no defense presents just a ton of opportunity for assists and rebounds with more shots being put up and potentially more misses. Obviously, none of these teams are elite shooting teams, in my opinion. But Trey Jones, like I talked about, his rebounds plus assists game log this season, right? Pretty decent hit rate. I think the floor for this is going to be around 10 RA, in my opinion, just given the amount of assists that he should see, specifically even with Wembanyama on the floor, right? Like with Wembanyama on the floor, it just presents a ton of opportunities for Trey Jones to get assists. And we look kind of how he's done against his brother. He's over this line in 3 straight games versus his brother. Actually 4 of his last 5 games, at least 11 RA, and 5 of his last 5 games versus his brother. And I think Popovich, I don't think there's really a narrative, but I think he understands, we're going to play Trey Jones a little bit more versus his brother. 32 minutes in this matchup 9 days ago, and this is a high-scoring game, 131-127. Super close game here. And like I talked about, the Wizards have been exploitable to that position. Like I said, Trey Jones just had 20 RA a few days ago. Jalen Williams 17, Kate Cunningham 16, Jalen Brunson 16, Bruce Brown 15, Josh Giddey 15, Jaden Ivey 13, Jamal Murray 12, Trae Young 12, right? Like 12, 10 assists, 2 rebounds is very, very attainable for a player like Trey Jones, who, if we take a look at this, like over the last 5 games, Trey Jones is actually 4th in the NBA, 16 potential assists per game. He's averaging 9 assists per game on 16 potential, which is the 4th most potential assists over the last 5 games, essentially. I mean, Cade Cunningham had 18, but he only played 1 game, so this is an average here. 16 potential assists for Trey Jones, and he's also averaging a pretty decent amount of potential rebounding chances, like 7 rebounding chances, converting 3.9 rebounds over his last 9 games. So, I mean, we're talking about 7 plus, 16. We're looking at 23, 24 potential RA chances for Trey Jones, what he's essentially averaging over his last 5 to 6 games. But given the matchup, just a plus matchup, and like I talked about, his assists and rebounds do go up slightly at home. Averages 0.3 more rebounds and 0.1 more assists at home compared to on the road. So, I just like this matchup. Super fast-paced environment, just had 20 RA, all we need is 12, so we're giving him essentially, again, I don't like to use previous game to the new game as far as a super sharp comparison, but 11 RA, I think this line should be at 12 and a half in my opinion. Trey Jones over 11.5 RA is the first play. The second play is going to be a fantasy score line here. If you guys are familiar with the channel, you do know I like the fantasy score lines And I'm looking at Lauri Markkanen over 39. I think this is a little bit too low. Not really sure the reasoning for this line specifically, but taking a look at this matchup, Brooklyn's going to be without Dorian Finney-Smith, who, in my opinion, probably their best wing defender. I mean, Mikal Bridges is more of kind of guards at 2. We know Dinwiddie and Cam Thomas are cones out there defensively, no disrespect. But, I mean, Cam Johnson Lauri Markkanen will get a mix of Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, but no Dorian Finney-Smith, I think, is huge for this matchup. When we look at Lauri Markkanen, right, his fantasy score game log this season when he plays 32-plus minutes, like, he's had at least 39 fantasy points in every game except for 4. Every game except for 4, and he hasn't had less in 32 minutes. He hasn't had less than 39 fantasy points since 3 games in November, and then against Houston. So if we just wipe this out, right? Let's just wipe this out. His fantasy score game log this season, Lauri Markkanen, and we look at this, right? So he had 50. He's coming off back-to-back games of 50-plus fantasy points. 16 here against New Orleans, where he played 27 minutes. That was just a weird game. 31 against Houston, and then 46, 47, 56. 35 against Toronto, but then 46, 49, 52. So he's over this line in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 11 games. He's hit the over on this line. And like I talked about, the Brooklyn Nets present a great matchup. We look at over on Outlier. Again, link in the description below. Get a 7-day free trial with Outlier. We look at, right, overhit Lauri Markkanen, if we can move this over here. Over his last 20 games, he's over his PRA line, right, which obviously positively correlates to fantasy score. Over 35.5, he's over in 13 of his last 20. Over his last 10, he's over in 7 of his last 10. Currently minus 120 on DraftKings to go over this 35.5 PRA line. And in this lineup that the Jazz are now running, all right, it's giving Lauri Markkanen a ton of usage, okay? He's listed as the power forward, but Fontecchio honestly plays more of the 4, and Lauri's kind of playing a 3, in my opinion. And we take a look at this. The Brooklyn Nets get cooked by wings, or power forwards in general. 29, second most points, most rebounds, 4th most assists to that position, okay? Now, Lauri Markkanen, he's actually faced the Brooklyn Nets earlier this season in one of his first games back from injury, and he played 29 minutes, had 20, 10, and 4, and shot 6 for 14 from the field. And in that game, he actually finished with 39 fantasy points exactly, right, at 29 minutes. So, again, we're talking about he already had 20, 10, and 4 against the Brooklyn Nets at home. What is this? Like, he's still on a minutes restriction here. It was his 3rd game back after missing a ton of games. I love this spot for Lauri Markkanen. Like I talked about, forwards have been dominating the Brooklyn Nets all season long. And Lauri, over his last 10 games, is averaging 1.33 fantasy points per minute. I mean, which is up there as one of the top fantasy points per minute type of players in the NBA. Just presents a great spot here. I definitely think, I mean, this is a pretty high over-under as well, 235.5. No Dorian Finney-Smith. I like Lauri to play 32-plus minutes in this one. I think this line is a little bit too low. So, Trey Jones over 11.5 RA, Lauri Markkanen over 39 fantasy score. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about these two plays. Drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.